This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks NYC. I have the pleasure of bringing a New York native by way of Salt Lake City, a legacy phenom in the Gold's Gym Network, coming to you live on location, 65 miles an hour. Bryce Berry, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I hope I'm going 65. I know I'm not driving.
All right, that's good. That's good. All about, the Halo sector is about safety first, fun second, impact third. So here we are talking about Gold's Gym. And Bryce, why don't you give the audience here your personal background, given you're originally from the Westchester County part of the world, and then how you made your way to the Salt Lake area and why you stayed.
When I in grade school and high school, Westchester County, grew up in Yorktown Heights. Enjoyed the area. I went to college at Brigham Young University and fell in love with the mountains, and I just have never left. Even though I work in other states all the time, I'm miles away from ski resorts. Miles, 8 miles, 6 miles in some cases. Mm-hmm. But and so I love the area. And I worked there in other businesses. Prior to the Gold's Gym industry, management of other companies, production companies, things like that. 20 years ago is when I signed my first franchise agreement with Gold's Gym, and we started in Colorado. There wasn't anything at the time. There wasn't anything available in Utah. That's where Vasa started, was Utah, and hence
right.
Prior to them being Vasa, they were Gold's, and they had the entire state locked up. So I had to go to Colorado, and Colorado's been a great experience. We've had upwards of 9 gyms there. I've sold a couple that we had debranded, and then now we're to 6 Gold's Gyms in Colorado and 1 in Cheyenne.
Now, I'd be remiss if we didn't start back and talk about your operational experience and attention to detail at the beloved Dairy Queen. So please, without leaving out any detail, because we need to know who the person you are in order to work in the health club industry. Some of the best operators were running shoe stores back in the day, and really attention to detail and behavior. There were people that, came from the hospitality industry, people that were personal trainers. You came from a unique perspective of putting the blizzards together. So please give us that background so we have that on record for the rest of the life of the internet.
Well, this operation that Pete and I are discussing, we call it Operation Blizzard. I introduced Pete to blizzards. I was just in Dairy Queen for a short period of time. I started with 1 and eventually had 5 Dairy Queens that I purchased in the Utah area, But I have to say I didn't really enjoy it. It's really long hours, hard work. But it was okay. But but Dairy Queen had good food. And good product, and I enjoyed that part. But yeah, it is. I used to go into stores that I didn't own, and everybody's heard of a peanut butter parfait, and I would go up to the counter and I'd tell the cashier, "Hey, if I can make a peanut butter parfait myself, and I know that it's supposed to weigh 11.5 ounces, if I can do that, can I get it for free?" Just joking around. And every once in a while, somebody would say, "Can you do that, boss?" And they said, "Sure, come back." And I had made thousands of them, so I could just make it, put it on the scale, 11.5 ounces, and thank you very much.
I will tell you, with the new OSHA laws and not letting people behind the register, I said those days have passed with those type of customer challenges. But as you looked at the Gold's Gyms and Scott Felstead and crew, and I toured all their locations, and they had some pretty big Gold's Gym boxes. As you were getting into the health club industry at the time, Gold's Gym, people probably, snicker and don't understand this, but like Gold's Gym was the coveted franchise brand to get your hands on back in the day. So talk about what your affinity to that was, and then, why you thought, bringing it to Colorado and how you thought about site selection, even 20 years ago when it wasn't, you could go to a database and say, okay, look, what's the best site for me? You kind of canvass those markets.
Yeah. Well, I actually, knowing that I couldn't be in Utah, I drew a 300-mile radius around my house and said, that's how far I'll go to put in a gym. And so I had two options. I had Idaho Falls, which I knew very well, and then Grand Junction, Colorado, which I knew very well because, after Dairy Queen, I had a book bindery. In fact, it was the largest book bindery in the Western states, and had customers. My customers were printers, and so I called on printers all over the Western states. I knew Colorado like the back of my hand, and so when I saw that Grand Junction was in that 300-mile radius, I said, "Oh, that's where we got to go." And here I am driving in this car with my partner, Cole. He was the GM of that first gym, 56,000 feet. And people in the gym industry, what in the world are you building a 56,000 square foot gym for? We had pool, basketball, 4 racquetball courts, a huge 5,000 square foot aerobics room, awesome weightlifting. I think we had 130 pieces of cardio when you take the cardio cinema into a place and then all the open area. But, it's because I copied Scott out of his Gold's Gyms in Utah. Were like that, and he was killing it. And so we kind of copied that model here in Grand Junction. We put 2 gyms in Grand Junction, and we had a lot of success. I mean, that first Grand Junction gym was what an attorney would call a rainmaker. When your first year, I don't know if this is inappropriate. I guess you can void it out. But I mean, when your first year you net and distribute 1.4 million, I'd say that's a rainmaker. That's
a big win, for sure.
And everybody that ever came in contact with this says that'll never happen again. It has happened again, but it's just been recently. But that model does work, and it has worked for us. So we started there in Grand Junction and Clifton. I put my third one was Montrose, which was an experiment, a smaller gym, 30,000 square feet in a small community. And that was a little tougher thing. And then we went up to the Front Range and put a gym in Cheyenne, which was exactly like Grand Junction and ran just like Grand Junction. Great gym. It's the king of the community up there now. Great facility, 45,000 square feet, has all the amenities. We have a gym in Longmont. We bought a canceled or a closed 24-hour fitness in Greeley. We're able to get a good deal because we did that in COVID, 2020. Been a very successful gym there, Gold's Gym. And then we put one in, after Greeley, we went to Thornton, Colorado. It's 1 year anniversary, December 27th is coming up.
Congrats.
They said that we were never going to have another rainmaker. Well, Thornton was a rainmaker. So that's kind of
another club.
Our experience. And we're building another club right now in Arvada. Yeah, just 10 miles away from Thornton in Arvada. Great facility, and we're excited to we'll be open probably May or June.
I talked to a number of private equity firms, and sometimes they'll call and they'll say, "Hey, I want to buy a cluster of clubs." I mentioned I've been working in the Gold's Gym industry, category and network for 25 years, and they usually abruptly stop me and say, "Well, I wouldn't want to buy a Gold's Gym. I want to buy an EOS. I want to buy a Vasa. I want to buy a Fitness Connection. I want to buy something like One Life. I want to buy something like the Fitness Edge." And I'm like, "Hey, newsflash, those are all Gold's Gyms with different brands."
Yes, they are. Yes, they are.
On the storefront, right? So, if you think back to the play that you're running right now, the unit economics that you're getting under Gold's, you're kind of punching at the same weight and the same kind of performance indicators as those other clubs that have rebranded. How do you think about that? Does the Gold's Gym brand, hurt you? Does it help you as more people are doing strength training? It almost the pendulum almost swings back to Gold's Gym.
Well, I can tell you. I'll just give you an example of Colorado. If you're walking down the street in Colorado and you stop 10 people on the street and you say, okay, so I think Vasa there's 8 Vasas within an hour of Denver, an hour of the Denver market. They're as far north as me and Greeley, and then they're as far south as Colorado Springs. So like an hour. They have about 8. EOS is not there. Oh, but there's Choose, another similar market. Now, Choose started out on their own, but there's 8 of those, 9 of those. If you were to ask anyone on the street, hey, where's the closest Choose at, or where's the closest Vasa? They give you this weird look, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
What's that? But if you say, hey, where's the closest gym? Oh, I know there's some in Colorado. I couldn't tell you exactly where they're at, but they're going to know Gold's Gym. I mean, just the retail sales, of what does the name brand, it creates excitement. It's just different. And I personally have never been big on the high volume. They call it high now. They call it high volume, high value,
amenity, high value, high amenity.
But it's low price. It's low price, high volume. I'm if that's what they want to charge for their great amenities, great, go for it. We don't do that, and so our success, we've been able to succeed without giving it away. And to me, $10 a month, $15 a month is giving it away. We don't do that.
I told somebody the other day when they were asking me about the pricing market in New York metro area, I said you could basically pay more to take an Uber to a Crunch than it'll cost you for the Crunch membership from where I was standing at the time, which I thought was pretty pathetic from a pricing standpoint. When you look at the markets that you're in, and you're in kind of the mid 40s price point, some people would say, hey, Bryce, you're kind of like caught in the middle. And your response might be, well, 80% of the middle is the market, right? So if you think that I'm priced in the middle because you want to take your business school matrix and like put it in front of me, yeah, I'm in the middle, but I'm appropriately in the middle because that's where people are willing to spend, and that's the price to value. So what do you say to those people that say to you, hey, Bryce, you should really go lower cost to get more volume, or you should go to $99 and, skim the market? I assume I know the answer to that.
Yeah, I know. We just haven't, that's just not been our answer. We've had gyms, and I haven't mentioned the two that we run in this conversation. I haven't mentioned the two that we run up in Tri-Cities, up in Washington, but that's really where the gyms that we really need to be talking about right now, because they're just great examples of what we're talking of: mid-range pricing, great clientele, a growing community, and we do well up there.
Yeah. So look, I don't know how many people. Yes, I don't know how many people know of the Tri-Cities, but Pasco, Washington, and Kennewick,
Richland,
and Richland.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have heard of them, but I don't know. I mean, that's where they're at. We call it the Tri-City area. The airport is in Pasco. It's really easy to get there. And in Richland and Kennewick, we have two.
You take a look at that market, and when you and I were talking about and touring the clubs, I was shocked at that the 34 age median of the market there. You're a couple hours south of Tacoma, probably 3.5 hours east of Portland, and maybe the same amount of time to go, northwest up to Seattle. But that market seems to be growing. I think you got a new power plant coming out there as well. And
well, yeah, they have a nuclear power plant there, and they're housing. They're growing. They're building thousands of homes every year.
So as you look at that market, talk about how you got up there, with Cherokee and Walker as a business partner, and how that evolved.
Yeah, Cherokee and Walker is one of the firms that owns that, and there's one other large firm that partners with them on that, and they actually were very aware. They watched our success at Grand Junction and Clifton. And so they immediately wanted to copy it, and they found that area up there fit the exact model. In fact, the Richland gym, they used the plans that we used for Grand Junction. It's the exact same plans. We just we made them so that they were legal for the city, and put the plans together and presented the exact same gym and put it in there in Richland. Kennewick, it actually happens to be the same size as our gym in Clifton, 42,000 feet, and in a community that's very mostly Hispanic, and that's the same as Clifton. It's just so the similarities are so weird. It's we found something that we could copy there, and that's kind of what we've done. It's
and Cherokee Walker, they're a private equity fund / holding company based in Salt Lake.
Yes.
And what got them involved in backing you or partnering with you and you managing those clubs?
Partners when you first start with a gym and you haven't done a gym before, you can't just go to a landlord and say, "Hey, I want to put in a gym." They say, "Oh, nice," So instead, I went to a bank and said, "I want to put in a gym," and they said, "Okay." And so you have to own the land and building, which for me, 20 years ago, it was a little more than I wanted to do. So I went out and got, between 8 and 12 partners, depending upon the project, and they would all invest minimum $100,000. We had investors that would invest as much as $300,000, $400,000 in the land, and then I would be the tenant, and we would set up their return via the lease agreement. And those things are all those projects are all expired. We've sold the land and building back to a REIT, the ones in Colorado, and I'm not partners with them directly now, other than what I do in Tri-Cities, running those facilities.
So when you look at the two clubs that you have, and obviously they're under the Gold Gym brand up in Kennewick and Richland, and you look at that footprint of 56,000 and 43,000 respectively, the other players in the space that have come in there are either HVLP, smaller boxes, or some of the rec centers and sports complexes. So what do these two clubs serve the community from a standpoint of almost, an urban country club or suburban country club? And you have all these different amenities in there. I know you got basketball. I know you got some pickleball. Talk about what
4 racquetball courts, and we have pickleball. We have pickleball nights. We have volleyball nights. Basketball is very popular there, especially in Kennewick, and we have basketball courts in both locations. And it's a big community thing for them to be able to participate in those sports. But we have by far and away the best weightlifting and cardio areas probably in the state, because we just overloaded it. We overloaded it with cardio. We overloaded it with weights and cardio. And we just, in the last couple of years, we've remodeled the space, how the format of how we had our weights and cardio, and also how, the interior design. So it's just very appealing.
And one other thing that's kind of unique to what you're running up there, and run by a woman with the same name as the woman that runs Fidelity, Abigail Johnson. So I always remember her name. You've got a tanning and red light concept that's at the front of the location. That's unique and very profitable, and seems like has a lot of demand in town. Talk about that for a minute.
Well, it's really I mean, when you talk about tanning, you say, well, it's not. We're talking red light tanning, blue light therapy, red light therapy. We have all sorts of esthetician services, skin services. And I'll be honest, I don't understand everything we do there, but they're awesome and they're busy, and we sell quite a bit of retail in terms of people that want purses and shirts and stuff like that related to that market, tanning or gym workout or whatever like that. But it's not your typical tanning salon. We have the Sun Angel that, it can't burn, it reads your skin and then sets it down. Or we have a mixture. You can shut off UV and just run red light or blue light, which has been proven to heal your skin and help with what is that? The stuff when your skin shows fat. Cellulite.
Thank you.
When the skin goes cellulite, this red light therapy can.
Yeah. So just the last thing.
It's been a great enterprise.
Yeah. And then the last thing, just to kind of get your crystal ball for 2026, I know your clubs in Thornton and the new one that you've got coming up in Arvada. Very heavy on the strength equipment side. What are you seeing kind of the new wave of 20-year-olds that are coming into your clubs? Where are they gravitating towards? What are some of the things you're doubling down on?
We at our newer facilities here, we are, it's weights and cardio. One of the few, the amenity we put in oversized dry saunas in the men's and women's, oversized dry sauna rooms. We're putting in recovery rooms, recovery areas, I guess, to work to afterwards. And then we offer quite a bit of supplement and recovery drinks, things like that. I mean, but the gym is the best. The gyms we have the best equipment money can buy. Weights. I think anybody in the gym industry is familiar with the Woodway treadmill, the slats, the sprockets, and then about 5 years ago, their patent expired, and so there's 3 or 4 manufacturing equipment companies that have copied that Woodway.
I didn't know that
treadmill. We happen to like the Matrix treadmill that copies that Woodway, and it's triple the price of your typical belt treadmill. But that's all I put in all my gyms now. I'm replacing all my treadmills with the Matrix treadmill. It's run on sprockets and slats. You can run in bare feet. You can be 300 pounds, and it's awesome.
Yeah,
it's just it's the best equipment, best cardio money can buy, and then our weight equipment is from all over the world. If somebody and sometimes it takes a long time to get those pieces, and so we'll open up. Like for instance, we opened up in December in Thornton last year, and we didn't actually have all our equipment in that we had ordered until like May, but there were people that were waiting for some certain pieces. As soon as those pieces came in, they said, "Okay, I'm on my way. I'm canceling. I'm going to be there at yours." But I mean, regardless, that market of going after the 18 to 40-year-olds it's made our world.
Awesome. Well, shout out to your daughter Jackie, who's been integral into the business, and the rest of your team that I met with.
Yes, she has.
Congrats on what you built. Cole, thanks for driving on this podcast. We appreciate that. So we didn't have Bryce on any kind of, prohibited, driving, and that model somehow, got us in trouble from a safety standpoint. And Bryce, look forward to seeing you in person. Thanks for your contributions to the Halo sector at large, and for what you're giving out to these communities, and always thinking about the quality of the workout, the member, and what it brings back to helping people live a better lifestyle. So have a safe trip. And happy holidays, and from all of us here, appreciate you.
Thanks, Pete.
Awesome.
It's been great.
All right,
Talk
take care.
To you soon.
Thank you.
See you.
This is Pete Moore on Halo Talks, your captain speaking. I am the founder and managing partner at Integrity Square. We've been around now for 15 and 1/2 years. We have been helping people like yourselves get capital, do mergers and acquisitions, consulting, strategic advice in the health, active lifestyle, and outdoor Halo sector, trying to help as many entrepreneurs as possible get to the next level and take that inflection point and be the force behind your growth. We are helping companies that have at least $3 million of EBITDA, around $10 million of revenue, and we are positioned to help you get institutional growth capital or to negotiate deals with strategic partners. If you go to integritysq.com/ISQ, you can see our capabilities deck. Happy to set up a consultation at any time that is free of charge, and we look forward to you helping solve obesity, loneliness, and diabetes. Go Halo.